Hey, welcome to the April 2017 edition of the Bizarre Briefing.
Yeah.
We got a full studio today. Of course, joining me is Brandt Hughes.
Hey, that's me.
Also, we've got Max Gilliland. Hello.
Come on.
And Jeff Schusler joining us in studio. He made the trip.
Yes.
Like an hour drive, probably?
Well, like an hour, yeah.
Because you still hit some of that early rush hour traffic.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
But it's... I find Skype to be insufferable when like the three of you are
Really?
live and there's a half-second delay between everything that I say and hear from y'all. It's just it was the worst.
I feel you.
Well, thank you for making the trip. It's only once a month, so hopefully we can continue to have you in some capacity. This is the podcast where we talk once a month about all the behind-the-scenes going-ons at Bizarre Magic. That means Scam School and Modern Rogue and Scam Stuff, and also shows like Court Killers and Weird Things and Night Attack, Scam School Remix, all the behind-the-scenes stuff and outtakes. So welcome.
And more.
And
Yes.
more. Let's start.
You can find all of them at schwood.com.
Most of them. You can find most of them. Modern Rogue's not on there yet. That website is so funny. Brian's always had a very funny website because it only updates when it needs to update.
Like once a decade.
Basically, because that was one of the first things that I did when I got here was make the new schwood.com.
Well, the funny thing is when I first got hired,
You had to update it.
one of my first major tasks was, hey, let's update this website, and then I never did it.
Yeah.
So
like hacking the system is still on here, and Modern Rogue is not.
yeah,
Well.
we just kind of waited until we hired you, and then said, you should do it. I don't know.
Your job now.
Well, it wasn't even that. It was like, oh man, hacking the system is debuting in 24 hours on national television. Can you just do anything?
Yeah.
Even like, because I think it might still technically be on Squarespace, but like it's just a single landing page now, so it's all custom. It's or no. I think this is like a redirected page, but there is a Squarespace version of this website that is notably jankier. but we had to keep it because like Brian's infamous letter to Teller is on the Squarespace CMS.
Sure.
And I did not want to rebuild that. And then you don't want people to lose links or whatever. It's fine.
I just like the subtitle "Some Kind of Wizard." I think that'd be a really interesting way to introduce yourself to another human being. Hi, I'm Brian Brushwood. I'm some kind of wizard, sex wizard, food wizard, car wizard.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I do like the kind of non-committal attitude towards the wizardry. Like,
And
I'm a
apparently
wizard,
kinda.
but like, what kind of wizard? That's not really important.
Like he went to Hogwarts and just kind of messed around, changed his major a few times, couldn't really figure out, potions, dark arts.
This is all more
Sounds
intent
about right.
than me doing it at midnight. Also, what's great about Brian's website, if you ever meet him in person, is that it is his business card.
It totally is.
I've got one here. Right? All right,
And
take a
the
look.
same
Take a look. You ready?
shirt.
Shoo. It is the exact same thing.
Good.
Because
Links? What are you supposed to click on his business card to go to hacking the system?
Just print screen and print that out.
here's the thing. All right. And that happened. I made this in like an hour because he wanted to get a bunch of business cards made for some convention he was going to. Maybe it was DEF CON. No, because I didn't go. Well, in any case, he was like, anything. I don't care anything. Again, the very low bar set around here in the offices. But and then he got him on this really cheap paper, and it's bleeding. So that's why you can't read a lot of the text on here. And
A little planning goes a long way for your business.
Yeah.
This is a business podcast, of course. So
Probably
Yeah.
figure
we
that
should
out
have a little bit
eventually.
of business tips. All right, well, let's just go down the list here.
Okay.
Jeff, you've been with us for almost 3 months now, I believe.
Something like that.
This is your second episode that
No.
you've been on.
I think I've done tic-tac-toe.
You were gonna do 3, but you didn't. You couldn't make it that first month, right?
No, I think I did.
No, I'm sorry, of the Bizarre Briefing. That's how I
Oh, God.
Right,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought you were talking about
Yeah,
Scam School.
You've done multiple episodes of
Yes,
Scam School.
twice, yes. This will be my second.
And this past week, you did your first ad
Yes.
for Scam School, your MST3K inspired ad.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about it?
I felt all right about it just because I've spent a lot of time in After Effects and in Premiere over at Rage Select just trying to ape other things for parody. So it was really relatively easy to set up all of the things around it. The thing that was most concerning to me was it was paying homage in a good way to MST3K because I really like MST3K. So I wanted it to be something. I think it's actually kind of funny because a lot of people don't know that I work. That I've been doing scam school, and so in some of the comments were like, "Why is Jeff from that other? Why they just got this one guy to come over here and do this?" But it was fine. I mean, it was very. It was the first time I've done an ad, and it was fun to do. It was fun to do to kind of figure out the challenge of doing that, like making a little domain robot and everything.
Yeah,
it's great.
And this was probably. Would you say this was one of your first episodes, or where you kind of gave yourself 2 weeks to what the upcoming normal schedule would be for you? We've talked before about we're on a 3-week cycle right now.
Yeah, I think that I spent so much time with the actual episode that then the ad was a series of I might have spent a week working on it, but it was over a week worth of business time working on it over the course of 3 days and not sleeping or anything. So
also common.
Yeah, kind of last second crunch. But I was happy. I mean, it's one of those things where you never really know in a new situation whether I'm just going to hand it to you guys. God, this is garbage. Start over. You suck.
Yeah.
Also, you're bad.
And I mean, I think your experience on Rage Select and making, parodies and just even doing the Let's Play stuff is gives you a certain comedic sensibility, to synthesize ideas.
Yeah. I mean, it's up until very recently, it was one of the things that I would do of just how can I do something that looks like this video game and then sit down and figure out how to recreate UI and stuff. But no, it was fun. It was fun to do, and I found it really interesting because once I had the theater and all the silhouettes and everything set up, I could put anything over that. Now I could make that. It would take 10 seconds to make 40 of those if I just had scripts for them. I actually started out with a different stock footage.
You had a different movie,
right? And then I realized that MST3K themselves had done that movie and was probably not that.
Yeah, that's one of the weird things where it's because we hit a thing sometimes where it's where is this parody versus appropriating someone else's thing? I mean, both of these movies that you're talking about are both public domain.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't have been much of an issue. But, where does it fall on that line is just kind of a weird hanging chad on some of the stuff sometimes.
It was really interesting, though, to go through that public domain movie archive and watch a bunch of the crazy old stuff that's online.
Yeah, there's some good stuff.
There's some good ones, yeah. And it's not necessarily, it is older, right? Because it's 60 years, 70 years is where the cutoff is or something. But there are some good old movies in there.
Yeah, there was one that I really kind of wanted to do another take with. That was this woman who was whisked away to a car show where they were showing all the brand new 1956 Buick
a commercial.
And it was a promotional film where this woman she was in bed and this crazy who's the guy in the from Sailor Moon who's got the top hat and tuxedo mask. Comes into a room and he's come with me away to this car show, and she floats in. She sings the whole thing. It's 15 minutes long. It's amazing. At one point she gets whisked to the kitchen of the future and has this whole thing about how your man says he's going to take you out, but he just leaves you in the kitchen. But that's okay because this kitchen cooks everything by itself. So
pacing, especially in old movies, is very particular. I don't want to get off on too much of an old movie tangent here, but because I did an album based on an old public domain movie, and so I've seen it a dozen times, and it's very much Hollywood taking sort of the play format and adapting it to the screen. Right, you have a lot of unbroken shots, a lot of very basic cinematography. But it's just interesting to see that progression along history.
Yeah. Jeff, are you a manager on the Scam School channel yet? I thought I saw an email go out.
Yes.
That you weren't.
Yeah.
It would probably be good to upload the ad isolated as an unlisted video and then add it to the ad playlist. Although the ad playlist is still on the BBpedia videos account.
That's right, it is.
But I mean, just upload and we can any one of us can do it.
Yeah.
That's just a fun little service we provide the people who like to watch ads.
we talked about that last week, or last month rather, of like taking out old ads and putting them in one place, because so much time and work goes into them that it's nice to have them all in one place. I definitely, last month I think we talked about how I hadn't done it. The update is I did it and then I broke everything.
Yeah.
Because those ads weren't uploaded. Most of them are not uploaded in order. And so I added them, but then all of mine ended up at the top of that playlist. So I was like, well, I'll just shuffle them in so that it's kind of a mix. And then I was done doing that. And then I realized, well, Brandt probably ordered these chronologically, actually. And then so I clicked the button thinking, well, at least the old episodes probably are in order because he's probably a little more diligent about that. And it turned out that was not the case. So we fixed it. They're now chronological for the ones that are in there, I think.
Yeah.
But
should be.
Whoops.
What are you going to do?
Oh, yeah. Speaking of ads, Max did the shooting for the Rad Power Bike ad.
Yes, that happened.
On Modern Rogue 2 weeks ago?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. How was that shooting an ad?
It was kind of weird, because usually I'm used to more like cinematography-esque things when we can like do takes and direct them, but they just kind of stood there and build bikes in their driveway. It was like, well, make it work. So that was fun.
Yeah.
Trying to do a tracking shot on a longboard with a camera that's worth more than my life was a little nerve-wracking, but it came out all right. You did a great job with the crap I gave you.
Thank you.
So, that was exciting.
Yeah, that's kind of how a lot of stuff around here happens, of like we'll do some, I mean it's almost documentary style in the sense of like it's gonna happen, just please do the best. This is more do whatever you can.
You're right.
Territory. But especially with something like that, but I think it came out well, and there was like a time lapse element to it too, a little bit.
That was a good move on your part, because there was a lot of just tightening of bolts and nuts that was incredibly boring.
Yeah. So this ad, minor note, it was correctable, but the master shot was very blue. It was
the color balance.
very blue.
I didn't even. Yeah.
But I fixed it for the most part.
Excellent.
If you know what you're looking for, you can kind of see where it's like, the colors is a bit wonky.
Long time since I've done that.
Yeah. Two, it was like 2 hours of footage. It was a lot of footage. Which, I mean, for like a thing like that, I get it, because it's like you just gotta. They said
This is
like
what they're doing.
Yeah.
they said like
put it in,
watch us build a bike. That's
like, okay, sure.
That's not a quick thing.
No.
So
Yeah.
I was frustrated, and also because when you're at a shoot as like a camera operator and an editor, if you're on location and you actually filmed it, you can remember like, oh yeah, that's the good stuff. The good stuff happens right here. And then there's like this big long boring stretch where kind of nothing happens, and you can sort of like mentally piece it together as you're going along.
Right.
And then that was a shoot that I was not able to be at because it was on a Thursday and I was editing Modern Rogue, and I guess they thought that it had to happen on Thursday for some reason. And so I just had to sit there for 2 hours watching every second of that footage, and then being like, "Oh, I don't even know what to do with this."
Yeah.
So it was a challenge, and then also there was like weird stuff of like last minute ad things where it's like, "Oh, are we supposed to have this in? Are we not supposed to have this in?"
Right.
And running on no sleep, and the episode was already late, and I was just like, "Oh, I don't care what any of this is. I don't get paid if we sell any bikes, so I really don't care. I just want this episode to be done and out of my hands.
At that point, like the incentive is to not have to do another bike ad.
Yeah. Go buy a rad bike, I guess.
Yeah. Bike.
Yeah.
And also, you learned a valuable lesson after shooting the ad, but before the episode went up, I believe.
Yes.
Don't go near license plates.
No.
With a camera?
That is also a good lesson. You learned a couple lessons.
Oh, great.
Be mindful.
Don't make me an editor.
Be mindful of license plates and addresses.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I had to go through and blur those out.
Yeah.
But
the bigger
back up your cards once you shoot something.
Data management.
So
put them somewhere safe.
Yeah. So basically, like our structure and rhythm of a shoot is, we all gather together. We all get all of the cameras and the gear, and then we take it out to the location that we're going to shoot, and then we're all happy and joyous, and we love our jobs, and then we shoot the video. And then we go, yay, we did a good job, everybody.
We made the files.
Yeah, business. Yeah. And then everybody goes home, except I come back to Brian's house with all of the equipment to put up all the equipment. And then I take
offload the cards,
all of the memory cards, and I dump them onto my own personal laptop, so that way I can take them home with me. And I put them on our disk station, which is just an array of hard drives.
It's a NAS.
Yeah. And so that way we have multiple copies, and everybody can access stuff, and everything's safe.
Yeah.
And then we could use those cards for whatever. And like that has evolved over time, because it's kind of like a symbiotic relationship where I don't have to drive places and Brian brings me back here. Since I'm already here, I'll just go do it.
And you can know, oh, we just did the shoot, and you live close enough where if you just take the cards home today, it won't bother anybody, and you can offload them later.
Yeah, and the key, and it's been like really important as time has gone on, and we've had more people on the team and more types of things like an ad where I'm not there. The more people you have, the more variables you have, and you really need a structure in place to mitigate damage. And so that's why all equipment goes in very specific places, because if you leave something out, like let's say we leave a battery charging in this room, then nobody's going to know that there's a battery charging there except for the person who put it there.
Yeah.
And if they're not the one packing up, then that stuff gets left there. Yeah. And even if they are packing up, they might still forget it because it's not in the place that like is the structured place where it's supposed to go. And so all the card stuff is exactly the same. Like you need to have like a very specific structure to make sure that things happen the way that they're supposed to happen. And so, yeah, we had a scam school shoot. And then
that Saturday, a couple days later.
And we saw a bunch of cards in our case of holding, which is a separate case that we put all the cards into to indicate that, hey, there's some stuff here that probably hasn't been backed up yet.
Right.
And we almost used them. And then I think Roberto made a comment of like, hey, is this good to use? And I just went,
I don't know.
Right. Because I will check with Max on that.
Because go thank Roberto.
Because that ad, it was shot on that Thursday, but it wasn't for that Friday's episode, right? It was for the next week's episode.
Yeah, something like that.
Because the next week y'all had to shoot another extra little thing.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. The night before.
But yeah, that could have been super disastrous. And it was
absolutely.
It was the sort of case of like, well, should we go out and buy a dozen new cards, or
so that way we don't have to overwrite these.
Right. And then I think we just ended up offloading them to your hard drive at the time, but
yeah, so luckily I had my laptop with me and my hard drive with me, and we were able to back up all of that stuff there, and then I transferred that stuff from there to our NAS over here. And
it's the sort of thing, because if it's just like me, when it's just me and Brandt, it's easy to be like, hey, do you need the cameras this weekend or something? Or are you going to have do you need the cards or something? But as more people sort of come on, being a little more proactive about just double checking that stuff is harmless and can save a lot of time.
Save some skin.
Yeah, save some skin.
Yeah.
There you go.
And so it was especially a bit of like an I don't know, because you even asked me like, hey, what should I do with this stuff?
Yeah.
And so I was like, just back it up on the disk station and do that stuff, and you'll see the files and it'll make sense. And then what I failed to mention is
You need to do
back it up
How to
right
do
now,
that, right.
immediately back it up.
It's like, oh, good, I'll put this here and we're fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it's especially important, especially if you, like, Brandt lives close enough where it's probably not the worst thing if he has to come out. But like, I know I live 30 plus minutes away.
Yeah,
You're about
same
as
here,
far.
right.
Jeff, you're an hour away, so
right.
that already limits some of that stuff. But yeah, just we all just got a nice little refresher on data management protocol.
Yeah. Speaking of learning lessons,
Oh no.
I mean, this is like a minor lesson.
Okay.
all right.
We had a Modern Rogue shoot recently,
Yeah.
and yeah. So
Wait, now I'm trying to wonder what I fucked up.
okay, well, I'll give you a hint. It starts with cold opens.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh no, I didn't mess that up. So we did the Stunt Ranch episodes.
Big propane tank explosion thing.
shot.
It's what came out last week,
Yeah.
and we shot a second one that'll come out probably a little later on. But yeah, so we started the day and we were all getting set up in front of this big car wreck, and the guys do cold opens, and we're doing like 4 cameras and
Yeah, and it's important to know that we've developed a system that pretty much everybody uses. We didn't use that first, but we were like, oh, this is a good idea of like, okay, I'm rolling on this camera. Okay, I'm rolling on this camera.
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling over here. We're good. Everybody good. Okay, now you can talk.
yeah. But we shot about 10 minutes of cold opens, and the audio was not recording, and I realized that pretty much when they finished doing them, and I very cordially called Brandt over and said, "Hey, I fucked up."
Yeah.
After they do this intro bit, while we're still set up, we'll just go back and do some new cold opens. I felt super shitty because there were some good ones in the first batch.
I really just want you two to do ADR, like trying to do your best Jason and Brian impressions over.
We did that for Escape School episode.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, did you see
a
that?
whole ADR'd episode.
Yeah, it was like 10 minutes of ADR with Bryce, John, and myself.
Yeah, I
Wow.
was Brian.
Man, that's great.
I was Brian.
You were Brian. I was Charles.
Yeah, you were Charles, and then John was Jason.
No, I haven't seen that. Did you guys
I
just
haven't
lose
either.
the
It's
audio on an
fantastic.
episode and then decide to kind of just do a thing
Make
with
it
it?
work.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened.
I think it was just a thing
Corrupted
of,
audio or something
Of,
weird.
yeah, just like audio just wasn't there, and kind of nobody really had an explanation for it. I think.
but like the other episodes from that shoot had audio. No, we lost.
No, we ditched the rest of those episodes.
That's right. We lost all of it. And because like we only did
That's
that
awful.
one because at least like we can at least do this as a novelty thing.
Yeah,
that's right.
I think we only shot like 2, maybe 3 episodes that day.
I think it was 3 because we ended up going back to Corner Bar like immediately after and telling them, hey, we're gonna shoot some more episodes. So to kind of I don't know how much the people who we talk to at the bars check out the show. But if they do, I have to be like, hey, we're gonna shoot some more right now. Just we didn't get them a lot last time, so we're gonna do them now, and those come out when
it
they
just
come
worked out so well last time.
Yeah, it was though it actually was great. They put out it's the little things with the bars sometimes. They put out a little paper triangle, a little paper tent on a table, said reserved for Scam School.
Yeah, I think that's the only
that's
time we've ever gotten that.
That's the only time we've gotten that. Though Jackalope gave us free drinks the first time we were there.
Oh,
Jackalope is good. Yeah.
Well, we don't go there anymore.
Never mind.
No, it's great. The Jackalope is really great, but it's very much like restaurant-y, which
Yeah.
is not a great feel, I think.
It's been kind of striking to me just being on shoots of it's a strange thing to have 4 people dragging in like all these microphones and tripods and audio equipment into a bar, and then just being like, and this corner's ours, so just get away,
go anywhere else. Yeah,
right.
You know.
And that's always like a weird proposition for the bars, but we also bring, anywhere between 5 and a dozen people out to go and drink and hang out. And so usually it works out. And also, we normally do Thursdays when it's not super busy.
Yeah.
So, it kind of works out. We did get a question in the chat room from Open Bayou. Are your cameras the dual card slots so you can do 2 cards at the same time?
I wish no.
That's a very new
nice.
technology.
Yeah, that's like GH5 has that, which is neat. I would be very interested to see if those cameras indicate which card you're recording to. I would imagine they would, but like for us, it's really nice to with Modern Rogue or whatever. It's really nice to like split up episodes by card or whatever because you're
They're gonna be long. They're much longer shoots in Scam School.
Yeah, and you're gonna have to take. You have to label each card when you back it up, and so to be like, oh yeah, this has this episode and like half of this episode, and that's weird. And then so you have to take like the whole card with it.
Yeah.
Or I guess you could split up the files, but that would be
it's very particular. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's nice to have like clean breaks between cards. And if you have 2 cards and if it doesn't like specifically say which card it's recording to, if it automatically starts recording onto the next card when one's full or whatever.
I feel like it would have to because
I know the GH5 does have like continuous recording, so you could theoretically just like
keep hot swap.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine because it should know how long a file it has to segment, right? Because with all of the cameras now, it'll do continuous recording, but it has to segment the file because they're FAT32.
Although it depends on what camera you use. The A7S does not do that.
Oh, really?
A7S is one big ass file.
So then it probably doesn't FAT30. Then it couldn't be FAT32.
Right.
But it should know, like, okay, these files are being segmented into like 5-minute, 12-second chunks. So, maybe a couple of seconds ahead of that, it can start on the next. Like, I imagine it would be less overlap rather than, total redundancy. Though I bet there's options for that too, huh?
Well, I'm more or less saying if like the card fills up and then we're halfway through the next episode, or we're halfway through an episode when a card fills up, and then it just keeps continuously recording. But now our recordings are split across 2 cards for like the episode, right? So for the second or for that episode that's split up, I would have to take both cards with me instead of just one.
Yeah.
Which would be slightly inconvenient, but it would be cool to have dual card slot cameras.
Cool. Definitely.
Also, I can verify we did shoot 3 episodes that day.
Okay. At the bar where we lost the audio. Yeah.
We tossed one out that said "Calling John Card Trick," and we tossed out one called "Math Puzzle and Limerick."
We ended up redoing the limerick eventually. We held on to that again for a really long time. We did that as like a second part of an episode. I think at one of the Rusty Cannon shoots. Yeah.
Fun.
Yeah. So let's go down the list here. Brandt. I feel like for the past couple of months now, we've been having freakout's not the right word, but some sort of Freaky Friday issue where on Friday mornings when you render out Modern Rogue, all of your Premiere stuff just decides to crap out.
It just like falls apart. It's the most miraculous thing because it doesn't happen except for like on Friday mornings.
Right. So there's a new year release of CC coming out. How are you going to upgrade to that and see if that solves your issues, or are you going to hold off?
So there was a new update that got pushed a week ago,
pretty recently,
and I did update to that.
Okay.
So longtime fans will remember that the last major Adobe update was actually a pretty good one, which doesn't happen very often.
Because they made the dynamic link stuff better, which was always really like had a lot of overhead, and you had issues with. I feel like.
Yeah, they fixed a lot of stuff. The last one. Okay, so let's just talk about last week's Modern Rogue.
Okay.
So last week's Modern Rogue. Well, it was the
propane explosion.
No, last week the one before that. Although I did have issues. Wait, was it this one that I upgraded?
No, well, I don't know when you upgraded, but you definitely had a lot of issues with the previous one, the whiskey ordering.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with the past like 4 weeks worth of episodes.
So walk us through what happens.
Okay.
Because I get to see, you will like say, hey, okay, I posted it up on you. It's uploaded on YouTube. It's processed. And then there's a lull for about 45 minutes where we all kind of go and eventually mosey on over to watch it. And it seems like the issue is that sometimes it just won't render entire clips. It'll like render out black instead of video profile.
Okay, so there are a variety of issues.
Okay.
And that's the tough thing because it's always something new. Okay, so let's take Order Whiskey Like a Gentleman, which you have pulled up. That one had a really interesting error, which I had never seen before, where Premiere would just disable all playback. You just couldn't play back video in real time. Which is kind of like really important for editing video to be able to play it back.
Now, I have that issue when I'm editing the podcast sometimes because the files that we record are WMVs, so they don't get split up, which means if they're, 2 or 3 hours long, they can be multi-gigabyte Windows media files, which are I think they're highly compressed, so they take a very long time to decompress and edit with. So if I'm making edits very far into the file, it takes a long time to like load it up and figure out what it's supposed to look like before I can actually start playback. But it sounds like you're not even at that like delayed playback. You're getting nothing.
Zero playback. And so I've had issues before where you tell it to render and it gets most of the way through the render and then it screws up and then something bad happens, right? That happens plenty with Premiere. This was different. This was this was sort of like, how sometimes when you have like a corrupt video container, it plays fine for like the first half of the video, and then once you get to the point to where it's corrupt, anything beyond that is just totally paused.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. It was like you could kind of watch a little bit early in the timeline, and it played sort of fine, and then you get past a certain point, and it would totally cancel all playback in all sequences. Yeah. So what I had to do to troubleshoot this, and at that point I had the episode fully edited, but I still needed to do music, and editing music without having any playback is kind of tough.
That's right. You did this one like blind, right? I don't think did you figure it out by the time you added music?
Okay. But I was confident that I could have done it blind if I needed to.
Okay.
But it was the kind of thing where because I had all the music set in place, I just needed to hear like levels and stuff, which I didn't have. And so I tried to troubleshoot it because obviously you want to figure it out, and you don't want to just rely on a 20-minute render or whatever and then go like, oh nope, this is actually all terrible. So I figured out that what I could do to reset the broken playback was to save it, so that way nothing was wrong. Close down Premiere and then reopen it. And this is after doing like a reboot and a hard reboot and deleting all of my cache files. And that might have even been the week that I updated Premiere because everything was breaking horribly. And so I saw, oh, there's a new version of Premiere out. I've had it happen before where Premiere breaks the day that they push out a new version. And so it's like, oh, hey, guess what? We got a new version. Weird. Maybe you want it. Maybe you don't. But your old shit doesn't work anymore.
So you know what they do for me?
God damn it.
What they do for me, because they know I don't update, is that at a certain point, it's like every time I open up a CC product, it says, "Hey, you need to sign in." Just click the sign in button, and you click the sign in button, and and then it loads up. But it didn't open the file that you double clicked. It's not as bad as your issue, but it is a pain in the butt.
Right.
So you.
But yes, so I would reopen it. I'd have a specific sequence set to destroy, and I would delete chunks out of it, and then test playback. It would break, save, close, reopen, delete a chunk, and keep deleting chunks until the playback worked. So that way I knew, okay, that's where the problem is.
So did you end up?
Oh, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard.
This is also like 2 hours after the episode's supposed to go up.
No.
I remember that reading that in our group chat. I was like, this is.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff like that. And this last week, I think it was a problem with Lumetri and LUTs, because that's how I'm trying to do color stuff now.
Yeah.
And I guess for some reason it was kind of freaking out with that. And before that, it was like on the whiskey episode, but 2 whiskey episodes ago, it was a thing where anytime there was text on screen, it would randomly render out a black background behind the text, like a full screen black background.
Yeah.
But it would always be different text. So there was
weird.
No way
That's weird.
to definitively say, okay,
It's this thing.
this is the problem.
Right. When it's, oh my goodness. So here's the thing, right?
Okay.
Text is one of the things that they updated, like revamped in 2017.
And I got beef with that. Okay.
All right, very quickly. What's your beef with the new live text?
First of all, I give them props for trying to update it, because the old text editor was broken as hell.
Was very
it
screwed
was
up.
the worst designed feature in Premiere.
Yeah.
And
To make you would make a title, you would have to go into the title designer, and it was its own like window just for editing titles. But now the new
didn't
version
even have zoom functionality. So
it didn't do any zoom, and it was very hard to like grab stuff off canvas
or do anything really.
do.
So there's
now the new one is like you can edit it directly on your canvas on the timeline.
yeah, you just click on your video and you type your text on your video. Right. Okay. So one,
Never seen you this animated before. Ever.
I'm glad we found a way to wake me up. Okay.
This is the one time a month Brent gets to be angry.
Yeah. So one, they took away drop shadow or depth shadow.
No.
And depth shadow is
It's
the best
so
shit.
good.
And I've been wanting them for years to bring depth shadow over to After Effects
Anything
and
else?
Photoshop
Please bring me Death Shadow.
because it's great.
It's so good.
So they got rid of it.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So there's still stroke and there's still drop shadow, which is like if you combine them in just the right way,
You can
you can get something that looks a little bit like depth shadow.
but you can't do it too far, or you'll see the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's real dumb. 2, there's no like align button with the new text thing.
Oh,
So if you're like, hey, I want this perfectly center aligned.
Sure.
Sorry. Well, okay, so you could kind of do it. The way you do it is you say, okay, I want this centered text. So it centers the text in like whatever invisible text box that they're making. And then you go to the transform properties of that text item.
And set it to be the midway point.
And then you go, oh, this is a 1080 file. So let me
960.
set it to 960. And then
That's
Wait,
stupid.
hold on. Can you still make text bounding boxes?
I don't know. I've never done that.
Anyway.
That's not important.
See, you know it's terrible.
I'm trying to think of all the things it's gonna break if I upgrade now.
Sure,
Right?
sure.
We do credit rolls for cord killers and
Oh yeah, good luck with that.
I think it's incredible that from what you just said, it sounds like you missed the old title function in Premiere.
I do,
That was rough.
which is
to start
astounding
with.
because it's
Yeah.
horrible. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And they still have legacy text editor. So if you still want to use that, but I'm always of the mind of, well, that stuff's gonna go away anyway, so I better get used to the new stuff while I still have the option. So I'm like bearing down and gritting and getting through that new text stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
So do you
Brandt rant?
Brandt rant. Brandt rant's over.
Although, real quick,
not over. Hold on. Open the pod bay doors again.
real quick. This is actually a nice thing that new text does. It's not. It's properly aliased. So the old text stuff always looked like it had like a 2-pixel blur on all of the text, or like a 1.5 pixel blur. All of it, always. Trust me. Go and check.
Okay.
It looks blurry as hell.
Weird.
But the new stuff, sharp, crystal clear.
Okay.
Love it.
Really?
It's a real love it and hate it sort of situation. A very bittersweet moment.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Well, we're gonna shut the blast doors now.
Until next month.
Next month. Let's talk about something nice. Modern Rogue finally got our silver play button.
Hey, you want to hear a cool confluence of events?
Sure.
Not only do we now have the silver play button, which is downstairs.
I never got to see it.
It's like resting on
cool.
Kepler's cage or something.
Sounds right.
That
does sound right.
Who is Brian's dog? One of Brian's dogs. So this week we are right at 300,000 subscribers for Modern Rogue. I think we're like a couple hundred under.
Yeah, right now we're at 299, 480.
And Scam Stuff is right under 100,000 subscribers,
Really?
I believe.
Oh wow.
I think it's at 99.
Good.
I'm not 100% positive, but I think so. And then also our Modern Rogue subreddit just crossed over 1,000.
Very
Nice.
cool. The scheme
Good
stuff.
stuff.
The scheme
All right.
stuff.
No, that's at like way under.
Says it's
I don't know.
40,000.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great. I like the Reddit stuff is blowing up, and I'm excited. It seems like we're doing a similar thing with the Discord and the podcasts, and it's nice to feel like there's traction in getting people to use those, short of being like, please create a community, right? Like it's a lot of like going in and engaging people, and I'm glad to see that people are going on to that stuff. I still haven't seen the play button.
It's all right.
I mean, I've seen a
silver.
gold one.
True.
Right?
True.
And once you've seen a gold one. Though, I don't know, someone was saying, maybe it was Brian was saying that they changed the size of them. I think they shrunk the gold play buttons or something. I don't know. Brian's always clued into like the very backstage stuff on YouTube for some.
Before you know, he's going to be talking about that ruby play button or the diamond play button.
Oh, the diamond one at 10 million subscribers.
I think Ruby's
That's
5.
not real. That's not even going to be real. I don't think that's real.
They've given out a few.
Have they?
Really? Oh, wow.
On
'Cause
stage when they announced it. They're like, hey, you guys crossed the threshold. Here you go. It's diamond. Wink.
Because I've
Wink.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna.
Wink.
I watched enough of those like very bad like vlog videos. YouTube sent me a ruby play button, and then it's like some British kid, and it's not. None of it's real. It's very just a blatant lie.
It's like clearly made out of Jolly Ranchers.
well, no, it was like
Clickbait.
no, in that.
Ooh, how many do you need for a Jolly Rancher play button?
Oh my God.
It's like 25, 30.
It'd be so.
We could do that right now. We
yeah.
could go get a cast molding of that play button and then just melt down a bunch of Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
That actually
That'd be
might be a
great.
good Modern Rogue episode. Yeah. No, the video that I watched as a kid, I might have even mentioned it on this show. I think I have because we've talked about clickbait. But the kid was like, "Oh, they didn't send me my play button. What happened to it?" And he opens up the box, and the box has clearly already been opened, and he's reading the letter that they send to everybody, and he's like, "Oh, it's empty." And then he goes into his bed and is like, "Tricked ya? It was just on my wall." It's like, that's not even a prank. That's lying. You lied to me. I watched your shitty fucking video where you told 30,000, like, "Oh, man, we should get 30,000 likes on this one. Just make sure you smash." Fuck off, kid. Like, you don't get to do that if you're going to just lie.
Man, we're a lively bunch today.
I was gonna say, spicy this month.
All right, Jeff, get angry.
I've got one.
Okay.
I don't know how it is that people on YouTube think that they're the first person to think about how to win a game of tic-tac-toe by going in a corner and then going in the opposite corner. And if you go anywhere besides the like, they're like, oh, I always win at tic-tac-toe. Like everybody knows that. You didn't discover a secret. We all know about the 2 X's in the corners and the O in the middle. Like we know.
Preach.
Google has an app where you can just type in tic-tac-toe and you can play tic-tac-toe against a computer on Google. Set it to hard.
Nice.
See if you win every time. Spoiler, you don't. It's a draw. Every time. Every time. Sorry.
Robots.
Yeah,
Man,
but
it's just
what
not-
if you won?
What if you won?
What if I told you?
I mean, if like YouTube commenters are a very
It's
common
a special
topic on this
breed
show.
of.
It's fine. And I don't want to crap on anybody's parade, but it's just the
No,
idea.
please do. No one listens to this.
It's just the idea.
That's what this is for.
Right, right.
that somebody was like, oh, I figured it out.
Yeah.
You guys are
this
all
one
dummies,
individual-
but I know how to beat.
Right.
I know how to win every game of tic-tac-toe. It's like stupid. We've all known that trick since grade 2. Like, anyway, that's the only thing I've got.
So we had a pretty fiery. We've had a pretty heated night attack last week.
Oh yeah,
which
that was intense.
it was weird sitting in this chair for it too. But we won't. I won't talk about that because it's been talked about to death. But it was the episode that has maybe the most YouTube comments on a night attack video ever. But it's weird because like that whole thing is very much just like, you know, oh, you people are being outraged. Oh, you people have thin skin. Oh, you're trying to censor. Oh, you're trying to do this other thing. Like it's a lot of he said, she said, and it's all because no one knows how to talk into a microphone apparently. But there was just like a lot of like very like uncharacteristically mean comments, you know, that I don't normally expect from chat realm. And it took everything I could to only comment on 2 different things because when I get into it, I get into it. And
Going in for a fight. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta let them simmer.
Yeah. Because especially with that, we're like, feel like on the episode, I got a chance to give my side and Brian got a chance to explain his side. And the last thing I need to do is say everything I already said again. Right? Like that's a waste of my time and you just didn't listen to me. You're not going to do it again. So, you know, like JC Calhoun says, night attack people watch on YouTube generally no, which is why I think most people went there to comment. Well, it's the episode where we've gotten the most sort of response out of stuff like this. So it would make sense that the YouTube people would be more inclined to comment because we just got a lot of tweets and emails from different people. But it was like almost disproportionately a lot of comments for something that really wasn't even a visual bit. Like when we have visual bits, that's when people will go to the YouTube if they don't normally. So
Sure.
man, but that's the end of that. I don't want to talk about that anymore.
Crazy stuff.
I had a comment I got into a fight with the other day where some guy thought that I had misspelled stay in the most recent Monorogue. He was like, it's clearly slay. You put an L instead of a T. And I was like, dog, it's a condensed font, so maybe you just don't see the crossbar or the curve of the stem at the baseline, but that's definitely a T. And then he was like, no, man, look at it. That's an L. And then I went to go respond to him by giving him an image of like close up on the T and how it differed from the L two words before. But
That's too much effort.
but when I went to post that, I think he had deleted his parent comment, so I think he realized that he was wrong
Yeah.
within the 5 minutes of him saying that.
I mean, I've been doing this for long enough that I can't even get worked up anymore. Like I was reading the
In that you don't let
not
yourself,
worth
or
it,
you are
like-
physically unable to.
I'm physically unable to. I'm just.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there'll be one that really gets under my skin, but I've been called everything by everyone, and it's just kind of like, you think you can win at TikTok? All right, you fine. You live your life thinking you can win, but you do whatever. You do whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody called me a hipster on an old Scam School episode recently because I had socks for gloves. And this was during the ad where I was doing a Breakfast Club parody. And so he has like shitty gloves in the movie.
Yeah, right.
And so I was like, oh, well, this is a really dumb, funny idea. And then I deleted that comment because I was like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, just don't.
Oh my gosh.
Also, audio levels in the latest Adobe update is broken. Totally broken.
Wait, hold on. In what sense?
Okay, so the way that I do audio levels and stuff is I cut out phrases of words, and then I select it and I press G, and you can add or subtract gain, and it's a really easy way to bring up or bring down audio. Well, one of the nice things about it is that it automatically
It tells you the maximum amplitude of that clip.
It tells you where it peaks out. So it looks at the waveform and says, like, at its loudest point, this is where it's at. Now, whenever I hit G, it says, oh, yeah, like 350 dB.
Huh?
Whoa.
Instead of what it should be,
which is like
-9.
Negative something,
-6.
a negative number. Well,
It's like 500 decibels. I'm like, that is louder than being like inside of a jet engine. I think you're wrong.
well, and also it's digital audio, so it's all negative.
Like this is a whole segment called "You're Wrong, You're Wrong, Premiere, You're Wrong, YouTube."
Oh my god!
And I know it's not just me. I know other people have had that issue. I looked on their forums for like a hot second when everything was broken and I was freaking out because I noticed that immediately while I was messing with the music that week, and I was like, "This is not right."
That's why I'm team no update. I always gotta wait. You gotta wait for this stuff. You knew they would count wrong.
Yeah. You're right. But I gotta have that new stuff.
Yeah, that new text editor that you hate.
Yeah, but there's
What?
it's not all terrible.
Like I guess they updated live text, but it still had live text. Okay, let's get out of the. I actually want to talk about the new goals that we added to the Patreons. If you're a patron to the Cord Killers or the Weird Things Patreon podcast Patreons rather, you will have gotten multiple emails at this point about the two different things that we're doing on those shows. On both of them, we've added Discord roles. So if you are a $+ patron on those shows and you are on the Discord, bit.ly/NA Discord, you will get a special color. And it'll say, that you're a Weird Things patron or a Cord Killers or a Night Attack. Night Attack also has this. And you can get into the Diamond Lounge, which is a patrons-only special chat room. And the other thing that we're doing for Cord Killers and Weird Things is we're taking... we're essentially like trying to take both Spoiler in Time and Journey Quest and make them very easy for people to jump into. Right now, they're both basically embedded in these long episodes, and Journey Quest never has any time codes on it. With Spoiler in Time, I've had people tell me the time codes don't always work. You sometimes have to scrub anyway. If you're on YouTube, sometimes the time codes don't work, and finding them is very difficult because I try to be as judicious as I can about like making sure that it's formatted in a certain way, but at the end of the day, you're still searching on YouTube, which is very tough. So for both of them, we've set a new goal to start a project to make separately Journey Quest and different Spoiler in Time shows their own feeds. So if you wanted to say, hey, I want to go back and take the Shield challenge and watch the Shield with the guys and listen to all of their commentary, you would have a feed that is just each item in that feed would be a discussion about the Shield episode from when they did it, right? That way you can get the audio very quickly and it's in a list and you can keep track and do whatever you want. And then similarly for Journey Quest, chopping out Journey Quest and putting them sequentially and keeping up with current Journey Quest. So if you're interested in that stuff, if you're following those shows and not a patron, or if you are a patron but maybe you're not at the dollar level, because a lot of those shows had old less than $1 levels. Consider bumping up to get to those things because it's I think they're like very tangible value adds for those shows, which has just been the toughest thing with trying to find new stuff for the Patreons because when Brian hears the whiff of the word Patreon, it's very much like, I don't have any time for any new things. Please try to do stuff that doesn't need me. Mm-hmm. So like Hangouts are out. Extra episodes and things like that, a lot are out, you know. But this way, you get a tangible thing, you get access to it. It won't be super heavily gated, and I think I've had people ask about these things, so that's that. Darius Got Us One also asks about Patreon, or says about Patreon. I don't like the fact that you're required to give $1 now. It is true that you have to give $1 per episode technically, but you can also say only charge me one time a month. And I think and you still get counted, and it's actually probably even better if you do it that way. But you should do that because they do credit card fees, and if it's less than $1, it's like they lose money on it. So
life hack,
yeah. But we had a lot of people like come into the Discord and be like, "Oh, where's my color? I don't know how it works," and like, please check the email that I wrote you. But you have to go in and you have to select the new $1 level because we can't actually edit the old less than $1 levels because you can't change the amount. And if you can't confirm the amount, then you can't edit anything. So check the emails again. We'll be posting more about those things and talking about them more on those different shows. But I'm looking forward to that because I really like these podcasts. And, you know, if that's something where we can grow those and grow the pies for everybody, then that would be good. That would be good. A good thing to do.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more topic and then some off-topic stuff, I guess. Or maybe we've got 2 left on here. Which one of these would you rather do, Brandt? We've got Stunt Ranch stuff. I don't know what more there is to say about Stunt Ranch.
Yeah, we already kind of went through some of that.
We got Sunburn bad.
Yeah, we got another episode out of that's going to come out maybe this month.
Maybe we have a lot in the bank, so we're trying to space stuff out.
Yeah. But that was fun.
Yeah. But the hot news this week is the podcast awards, which we won last year. By the way, we won. We're a podcast awards winner.
Yeah, nobody can take it away from us.
Nope.
We got it.
They changed all the rules, and
Sure.
basically it's not daily voting anymore, which is how we won because we rallied our audience and said, "Hey, vote for the shows that you nominated, and do as you see fit." And then they did not like that, but they did everything except take away our awards. So their new website launched this week with all of the rules, and Justin has been talking about it like the past 2 days on all of his dozen shows that he does on Monday and Tuesday. But I guess I just wanted to poke because I got a feeling like I know what the answer is. But do any of y'all care?
I haven't cared for like the past 10 years or however long that we've even known that it existed. Mm-hmm. So even less so now.
Cool.
I got my own podcast nominated a couple times, and I could not have cared less. In most cases, didn't even bother to see. Like, I think at one point I went and watched the Beerists because I'm friends with those guys, and they win food and drink a lot of times on those. So I think we all watched a live stream of it, and it was just like, hooray!
Yeah.
But I can now always say, oh, it's a podcast award nominated, like that shitty Hollywood workaround where
as long as you put laurels around it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's one for the business card. That's about it.
I mean, is anybody like, well, I won't listen to this podcast. It hasn't even won a podcast award.
Yeah.
Garbage.
Yeah. I see the word nominated there. Don't you won't pull one over me. I'm assuming, Max, you probably don't give a crap at all.
What's a podcast?
Like, my take on it is like, very clearly the guy who runs it, Todd, doesn't want us to do what we did, even though that's exactly the whole point of a popularity contest. But he made it not a popularity contest, and they hate us. So I see no reason why we should bother doing it.
Spite. Hatred.
No, but they
Here's
took
the thing. It should have been a panel of people who know their shit, and then they choose who wins, and then don't leave it up to anybody fucking else.
Yeah. But see now, okay, and this is what gets me, right?
Because then good podcasts win. Regardless of whatever strategies or tactics they come up with, you go, hey, we saw a lot of the podcasts that you guys wanted us to see, and these are the good ones.
Yeah. And so they're kind of doing that now, right? Where people can nominate whatever they want, though a podcast I think they can only be officially nominated if they register and pay the $10 fee.
Sure.
Got to get that hard 10. And then a panel of people, and then random podcasters and random listeners will get a say. There is it's small batch voting. It's organic voting.
Grassroots voting.
Yeah. Podcast to vote. That doesn't work out as well as farm to table. In any case. So it's not even like it's just a committee. It's not like it's just a committee with a rubric, saying, fidelity and content and, whatever. Style, sure. Yeah. Like I would be like down if it was just, hey, we are putting out a rubric and we are saying that this is what a good podcast ought to be like, right? But it's not that. And Todd was tweeting some very salty things on Twitter the other night that I took to mean, oh, sure, they won and gave me exactly what I wanted, but then no one donated to my new website. So, Spirit of Podcasting Award.
Sucks.
Sure.
No, go. Come on, feed me.
Well, no, who cares?
Todd Cochran.
Well, okay, that's the only reason that I can see doing anything is just to piss that guy off more.
Oh, right.
Because I don't think that anybody actually cares in the podcasting world who wins what. In the podcasting world, maybe.
And that's the thing is that the Podcast Awards is kind of a small pond.
Right.
It was very easy for us to almost completely have the people that our fans decided to vote for win. Almost all of those shows won, except for Cord Killers didn't win. I think ESPN or something won. Because ESPN is a name that people would know, right? The other reason you have a chance of winning the Podcast Awards is because big podcasts don't care and won't give Todd $10 to be on a list. It's... And then they won't tell them to vote. This is all to say that I think... I have from the start have been like, hey, let's not.
Sure.
Let's try to win a Webby or something, like something that people have heard of.
Right.
Webby.
I think you give out start your own podcast awards and give it to other people.
That's on the
Start the competing podcast awards.
It would be. I'll tell you what. It would. It would be a boon to the Chat Realm Awards if anybody said the word Chat Realm Awards this year, because it always goes underappreciated. I don't even think they did one last year, but let's just do that again and let's make the nominations make sense. So it's not like Night Attack winning all of the awards for some reason.
Every time I hear Chat Realm Awards, I always think of the Viral Video Hall of Fame.
Oh, I always think of the GTFO Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Which are also another award show. But we need a summer award show.
For the best awards of the award show.
Oh, okay. All right.
Congratulations.
For a lot of people who don't care about awards, we work on a show that has a long lineage of giving out awards that don't mean anything.
Yeah. Sure. Accurate. Yeah. I mean, we're going to name someone Chat Realm Idol on Night Attack this week for somehow.
All right.
So, who knows?
Only if they donate $10 though.
That's true. We do need $10, but then they can pay us $200 for a plastic trophy. Got it. All right. Well, we got a little bit of time to talk about off-topic stuff. What have you guys done in the past month of note?
So since the last episode, I have started and finished watching all of Frasier.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
It was pretty good.
It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
And then the other day, I started watching Friends again. And I was like, oh, yeah, this is a pretty good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Cheers?
No.
Which is what Frasier spun off from?
Right. Not a single episode. There were a couple of weird episodes where it's like, oh, yeah,
This is a Cheers.
this character is clearly from Cheers.
Yeah.
Or like the one episode where it's like, this room is full of characters clearly from Cheers. But yeah, I have no experience with that.
I beat Yakuza 0 during the month.
How was it?
Well done.
The Yakuza games always have a problem where the last 15 to 20 hours should only be about 5 hours, but they're just so long in the tooth with all the political elements of the Yakuza. And it's like, please just let me beat up the oldest man alive so that I can win. And then it was a little anticlimactic because like the whole point is that you switch between these two people who have been in the series the whole time. And at the end, they like are in their outfits from the first game. And like we've completed the circle of who these people are. So it was a little like, oh, okay, this is the suit that you're wearing now. But it was good. I spent maybe 60 hours on it, and about half of that was essentially a clicker game.
Nice.
All right.
Did the numbers go up?
The numbers.
Good.
The reason I stopped is because they kind of plateaued. And that's
Rookie
tough.
mistake.
They don't have any prestige element with it, right?
Right.
Which is what you need. I actually started playing that Office Space clicker game, and I think I deleted it because it was I think it was also too slow. But I tried that. Just FYI, everybody. So that's your clicker update, your clicker date. Max, what's been going on with you? You've been doing good?
Yeah, doing good. Finally resurrected my old PSP.
Oh,
yeah.
The PSP was a good
2000
system.
fat. That was good.
Oh, the
yeah.
big one too.
The big one. Oh yeah.
Why?
Because I found it under a bookshelf when I was cleaning. Because we're gonna Frankenstein this thing.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Yeah, trying to get like you can run Linux on that. Do you know that?
That's right. That's right.
I didn't even. Yeah, Pandora
Linux-
battery,
yeah.
like get Linux on that. That was
The
fun.
PSP was a neat little thing.
It's a solid system.
Was the original Luminous PSP?
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
a launch title.
Oh, yeah.
God, that
That
game
was
is
fun.
so good.
It's very, very good.
Man.
The DJ Max games.
Oh, yes.
The best ones are the PSP ones, which are
absolutely.
what they're basing the new PS4 version on, and they're bringing back a lot of old games.
Thank
So,
God. That's gonna be great.
The
So-
PSP is great. I had a PSP because it was very easy to pirate video games. on it.
Absolutely.
And I bought a Vita because I'm
How
not a
is that?
fortune teller.
Yeah.
I
Oops.
what was the game? The papercraft sort of game?
Tearaway.
Tearaway.
Oh yeah.
Tearaway was cute.
I was free this month on PSN. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that's a good little
It was
game.
a good game.
But they made a Luminous for it, which is fine. You can't get wrong with Luminous. What's good, Jeff?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to think. There was a PSP game that was like this 80s Saturday morning cartoon where you played as like a cop that had to like jump from car to car to car and like shoot all the people in the
Man,
car.
That sounds great.
And it was really good. Was it called Pursuit Force?
That sounds like a game.
yeah,
that sounds
yeah.
like a game.
Pursuit Force?
something like that.
Maybe? Play that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of like
some
4 PSP games where
it
it's
was like
like
RoboCop,
Crisis Core and yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think this
had
might be it.
Yep,
had
that's it.
Yeah.
That's Pursuit Force.
Oh man.
That game is actually surprisingly fun. I'm kind of sad that nobody ever picked up the franchise because you literally jump from car to car
Yeah.
and there's a mini game about hanging off the back and like dodging guns this way and then just putting your gun in the driver's side and shooting some criminal and then jumping to another car at 90 miles
It was
an hour.
Just Cause. It was portable Just Cause.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
PSP always seemed like the thing that like my cool friends had.
It was.
I think I might be the one person who bought the PSP Go
right, the one that didn't have the drive in it.
Right.
Yeah, because you could dock a PSP Go and put it out to an HD TV and sync a blue PS3 controller to it.
Oh man, that's nice.
And that's how I wanted to play Metal Gear Peace Walker, because I didn't want to play it hunched over like this for 600 hours. But so I spent like roughly.
And then eventually, like
$250.
they just put Peace Walker out on all the.
Happened anyway.
What am I? I don't know.
Next, you're gonna tell me what was it? The Vita Home thing, the little.
Oh god, what the hell is that thing called?
something
Vita
new?
TV.
Vita TV.
Oh,
Yeah, bought that too. That thing. Ooh.
yeah.
Ooh, you can't
Here we
turn
go.
off HDCP from the HDMI out on the Vita
The Vita TV.
Oh,
TV.
that's weird. What?
So
Splitter?
like I was like, hey, I can capture some Vita games here and play them, and it's like, no, you can't.
That's
Why?
stupid.
Just
Get you a splitter.
fuck you. Yeah, I had one. I plugged the wrong AC adapter into it and fried the hell out of it. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
they're pretty cheap.
Well, happens.
Whatever happened to the Ouya?
I had a friend that bought that.
My
what's an
old
Ouya?
boss
I
bought
don't-
one. He was telling me about it when I first started at the job.
Yeah.
And I had to be like, "Oh, you fucking scrub! I can't tell you how much of a
Just got scammed, bro.
Dude, like
It was a
nothing
Kickstarter.
here.
It's a console
don't
to
know
play
it?
like
I don't.
phone games.
It was an
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It was an
That sounds
Android
awful.
console
this
tablet.
thing. That's what they called it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
looks horrific.
So it ran Android,
Good
but it
Lord.
also had like a store, and all of the games technically had to be free to play for some reason.
for like 30 minutes or 45 minutes or something like that.
You always had to be able to unlock it. It was not great.
It's like the Nvidia Shield. It was the same
Those
thing.
are supposed to be good now, though.
I've heard. I don't have money for that fancy technology, but
Sure.
yeah.
I'll tell you what you could do is buy a Raspberry Pi and put RetroPie on it for like $75 and then just play whatever old games you want.
So you were telling me
That's
you did that.
awesome.
Have you played any games on it yet?
Yeah, I ended up like a dumb stupid idiot like I am, was just like, oh, I remember Castlevania Aria of Sorrow on the GBA. I'd like to play that for 10 minutes.
Oh yeah.
And then I beat it. So
Nice.
now it's super cheap, and they actually, I wish I had one. There's a company called 8DO that makes these like, it looks exactly like a Super Nintendo controller, except it's Bluetooth, and you can sync it up to anything, and it's got that nice snappy feel of an old SNES controller. Works great. Also, you should
days.
all play Scanner Sombra on the PC. It's the latest game by the guys that made DEF CON and Hacker, Uplink, Hacker Elite, and
That's the team that
Darwinia.
made that?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I was watching Scanner Sombra. I was watching someone play it. And
It's $9 and it's just a walking simulator that's got some little puzzle elements. But I feel
I like
it's,
the idea of
Yeah.
it. Like,
it's fun.
Like
Yeah.
you play a robot and you use a scanner to scan the area. And then so instead of seeing visually, you see all of the like echolocation points,
that's
basically.
cool.
Yeah.
And it's Technicolor, and it's
Nice.
a really cool idea. I kind of just wish that they made. I wish there was more meat on that, because I think there's a lot
Right.
of good ideas in terms of like hiding visuals. Like
Yeah.
something like the Unfinished Swan did that really well.
Yeah. It actually really makes a bad impression with screenshots because you just look at it and it's just a bunch of dots. But when you're actually playing it, you can
not
see
good.
it move around.
It's really good in
That's
motion.
really
It looks
cool.
better. But
I didn't realize that was from the DEF CON people. That's
Yeah.
really surprising, actually.
I mean, it's probably only 3 or 4 hours long, and it's $10. And I kind of consider that
Worth
to
it.
be fair for just something that you mess around with. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's
stuff.
going to do it for us this month. If you want to find out more about this show, go to bizarrebriefing.com. You can get the iTunes and old episodes and all of our RSS, and you can get the YouTube links and all of that good jazz. Everybody, let's go down the horn, starting with Jeff. Do you want to send people somewhere this month?
Yeah, if you want to go over to Rage Select, YouTube/Rage Select, RageSelect.com, Twitter. I do Let's Play videos. I don't know that anybody here, I guess you guys probably either already know that or don't care, but whatever.
Oh, come on. Right.
Yeah. We do a daily Let's Play video, and we've had some really good stuff come out recently. What Remains of Edith Finch? We played that last week. Seems really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then
I heard that's good, but it's also short.
yeah, I think it's another walking simulator. And then I think that this week we're going to be playing Mario Kart 8.
On the Switch. Oh, very cool. Max.
DJ Old Fashion on Twitter. You can hear my musings about life and weird things that I find in the warehouse for Scamscoff. Doing some Twitch streaming on occasion now, just doing the buddy co-op, whatever. Just get on there and joke around with us and, hey, you suck at this. So that, so. Yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Keep an eye out for that.
What about you guys?
Brandt?
You can find me on Twitter at Gatowag, Gatowag. You can find me on Instagram at Gatowag. You can find me on Twitch at Gatowag. You can find me on YouTube at Gatowag. You can find me on everything.
He's not upset anymore, so he's shutting down.
But yeah, you can, on Twitch. Sometimes I do Rocket League stuff. I just crossed over 500 hours in game.
Nice.
Sometimes I do video editing. So if you like that, you can see that there. I was gonna say something, but I don't know. You could just look for my name.
Yeah, check him out.
It's good.
You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Brightcast, BRYCS. I'm doing stuff on the Night Attack channel also on Twitch. Like we do rewinds on the weekends, so we go back and watch old Night Attacks and NSFWs, and I'm sure we'll watch BB Live shows and maybe even old weird things or whatever. But check that out also. Fun stuff that I think we can announce for the Night Attack channel in the coming week and a half. And I say that slyly, but I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. So keep an eye out for that. And once again, bizarrebriefing.com. Find us on iTunes. Find us on Google Play. We might be on Stitcher. I don't know.
Cool. All right.
If no one listens, it doesn't need to be anywhere. Find us out. 5-star rate and review. I don't know. People can do that. One of the podcasts we make should tell people to share and rate.
Yeah, like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah. LCS, bro. Smash that like.
Yeah. Check out our silver play button.
That's right. Our twosome. And
not for the channel this goes up on.
No, also not true. All right, well, we'll see you guys next month with another Bizarre Briefing. Bye.
See ya.
See ya.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.